I'm live or not. I guess I am. I guess I have so many feelings. I gotta concentrate on getting on the highway here. That looks like it's doable. I don't think I dropped anything else. Oh no. Well, I'm just gonna have a little bit of leak back there, I guess. The water bottles were all secured enough, but they do float around back there. Interstate 10. This time not a return from work. While Kathy's back at the motorhome. I think there's a lot of positive things happening, and positive things I believe require strength to get through. Because the lower forces would have us throw in the towel on something good that the next level knows is good. There's a concept of the next level, whatever that is. Those that are above us. And not just in imaginary above us, but actually literally, not mammalian anymore. It's like we are human beings that are mammalian. That's funny, right, to say that? What do you mean? Mammalian? It's like a joke, right? I know, it's like, it was like, to me when I first heard that, it was like, wow. What, But when I first heard that members of the next level were people, it didn't register. I didn't know what that was. I mean, it didn't seem like they were the same. We get shocked by thoughts, right? I believe they can come from multiple sources, even many. But yeah, maybe many. That whatever. I don't know. That calls for a song, because everything can be turned into a positive. for it, you know? And seeking it. I like not resolving it all the time. At least that's what I think I'm doing. That's probably a figment of my imagination. I just thought of Kathy. I wonder if she knew it. Then we have to go through the stages of getting through those negatives. And we get lessons from it. And when we get through them, we're getting stronger. The process of thinking about it gets us stronger. Talking about it makes us stronger. I believe that anyway, I don't know. I guess everybody has their interpretation. I don't think it's based on what we believe, but our hearts. Pleasing somebody else. I think that's the Tiendo. Power of goodness. And have anger and jealousies and or like insulation of a magnet. I didn't understand that the first time I heard about it, and then the last time I heard about it, 10 years later, I didn't understand it. And now I think I see a little bit of it. So I've tried to look at it, insulation on a magnet, jealousies and anger. I picture the light coming from the creators of the planet, whatever interpretation we have of it, coming into us through our heads. I feel it, I think, when I do it. Focusing on the top center of the head. And that light is coming through your vehicle. You're pulling it through your body with your mind, with your acceptance of it, and allowing it to heal all the cells. That's a practice even to do, I believe. It develops the muscle, it sounds, I know it's commonsensical too, I think. Maybe I'm totally insane about it. I don't know. Maybe. I guess that's always a possibility. We can't ever think that we can be certain about anything, except for what's happening. No, I don't like that. I don't like where I went there. I must need to say something instead of playing. I'll take it that way. Let's see if I can see anything. Let's see, I'm 10 west. I'm still good. 31 miles, so I'll be about that much in minutes. I'll see if I can see anything in the chat room. Be safe. Thank you. Yeah, I hope to be. Thank you. I appreciate that. And from Baby Yoda. Might be more than I can get to right now, but let me think a second here. Try again. Nice. Warrior, thank you. Glad that was, I don't know, it's become such a habit of playing a fun one, right? But I did actually want to talk about Jesus. And not with music. So I should... I'll try to get this out because I'm not really in the mode of wanting to approach the subject, I guess. But I like when I hear somebody say the Christian Jesus in place of just saying the Jesus, because there's a difference, a vast difference. And because the real Jesus regarding, think about the things that he said, right? About, like when he asked Peter if he had a sword, and Peter said, I'll check it out, I think, and he came back and said, yes, we have one, and he said, is that enough? And he said, yes. But take it with you this time. The first time he sent them out without a sword, and the second time he sent them out, it was with a sword. But he only needed one sword. So you can imagine what the purpose of the sword would be, because the sword is different than a knife, I think. Well, not cutting up vegetables, but good for a lot of things, you know. You can hack on wood to make a fire if you're cold. You know, a lot of stuff. And you can also, you know, show that you've got something that you might not want to try to be attacked. You know, survival. Anyway, that's not what I didn't want to get into all the philosophical images of it, but because when they say lay the other cheek, when Jesus said lay the other cheek, I mean turn the other cheek, sorry. He wasn't saying just, give in to the other side, the opposition that wants to kill you or that wants to snuff you out. Self-defense is part of that. That sword, was part of that. Take a sword with you. He wasn't saying as a group necessarily. At that point, it did sound like he was thinking it was a group, but maybe that's, I don't know if he was putting a limit on how many people could have a sword. But it was up to us whether we were going to become people that were going to live by the sword. He taught that too. Living by the sword is different. In other words, if you're using that for your justice or to get what you want, and the reason why I believe that it's a fact that that's the case, that maybe this is my preacher side, I guess, is that there's a drawing line in letting our anger come out as justified to stop it from happening to anybody else, to the degree of using violence. It's perfect. It just means that he was willing to give his life for God, for his concept of goodness, the way that he did, because that shows the Lord that you're not playing on the side of the forces that want to make it into a physical conflict, but you're willing to lose your life for that. And that's from beings that are more evolved than we are. They actually have that peace, that utopia. And it's everything, it's worth going towards. I know that. And all the forces want to keep us from that. And we think that, we can't do it in this way, or we can't do it in this way. We don't believe that, we don't believe that. Or I don't want to change this, or I don't want to change that. And forget about it. It's like, just do what you want to do. And if it ends up, if you're having goodness in your life, I think that's what we'd all probably want. And that would be never doing anything against anybody else's will. Unless you gotta save them from a burning house, and they don't want to go for some reason, that's stupid. "20 miles to my turn off." I have to work into it a little bit. I don't know what that means. I know I'm not a big shot, but I do have a voice that some people have heard. And I have friends that I feel close to. It sounds that way, like, media, even, oh gosh. Those people are the media. No, I'm just being over emotional about it, I guess. I don't know, but I'm a guy, right? So I'm supposed to not have my emotions. I'm supposed to be the one that toughs it out. I can climb over that mountain. I'll get me that deer. need to have a predator species, part of the species, right? There's a lot of predators out there. Jeez. But we know that goodness is actually stronger than them. There's more goodness than there is that badness. And the demonstration of that goodness is the demonstration to the next level. And if it's, however that's thought of, I don't know, what the limits are to that. The next level can read our hearts. I mean, as an aid to us, Jesus gave us the technique of thinking of it, of you're asking into the heavens, among the stars, the sun and the stars and the moon. That's where you're projecting it. That's not not worshiping those instruments, except to the degree of their majesty, and knowing, their beauty and everything. But you're actually appealing to the highest intelligence you can imagine existing, that brought this magical world to us to even be talking about. And when we see, and we all get it at different degrees, at different times, in different ways, and asking, for that, to be a part of that. I know I'm being, general. I define these things, through my experience with Tian-Do. And yeah, it gets I didn't know I was going to get into some things, but 16 miles left. Still on track. About to talk about something, and then I got distracted. I just went through my rambling ways. So in a way, an accurate way, what created Christianity was Rome, right? It started in Rome. I know what led up to it was the Middle East, but it took like 300 years before Constantine. I'm sorry. Constantine, I don't know if it was in Constantinople or not, I don't think it was in Turkey. But Constantine made it part of the Roman government and formed the Vatican. I saw a good video on that just the other day. And I never saw it that way, that clearly, I thought. Anyway. And that concisely. I think well spoken. And that's so now the negative is exploding more and more. And I knew things were going to come to things like this, but I didn't know what it would look like exactly. I just couldn't conceive of it. I mean, for a long time, I couldn't conceive of civil war. Now I can conceive of it. To where it becomes more and more physical. And does God use that? I'm not to say I'm not the judge of that. I'm not the judge of other people that are, I'm not, it just doesn't make sense to me, I guess, that's, and I'm still that way. So whether that's civil or, it's all incivil to me. And that if we have any faith in spirit, whatever we call it, that's positive. And follow that thread and see what that leads us to. And it's just, and I think that the choices are spontaneous there, but they're also after thought about. Of course, when you find yourself thinking about your response before you heard the other person finish what they said, but you've maybe been through it so many times, you think they know what you think you'll say, and they're probably right a lot of the time. We can get so entangled in thoughts, and then I'm stuck in traffic on 10 West, 11 miles away. Oh, look at this. There's a big worm coming out of the back of that truck. It's an amusement park thing, like a ladybug, but it's like a caterpillar. And it was hanging out of the truck. I don't know. The door was open on the back. I don't know why. But that's not the reason for the traffic. So back to Jesus. Well, what examples did he give us to that would have to do with how we react with one another? And was that a Roman plot to get the people to not revolt? Right. Makes sense, right? It wouldn't have lasted that long. Or it would have been mutated into, well, religion. So actually, it has lasted a long time. Let me see if there's something in the chat there. Hi Sawyer, I'm in traffic. This may be really established a question apologists have asked. Is the gate still open via Tiando following the team's graduation? Let's see here. Wow. The process of getting through the gate is still here. It's a process. It's not a snap decision. It's not a supposed to. But what they gave us to do was spread their information as the task. That was their requirement because they wanted certain individuals they were going to work with closer in the future. Born from that experience of the human kingdom. Whatever they harvested from a previous civilization of individuals with physical bodies in the next level above human, the evolutionary level above human. But evolution not like Darwin. I'm not saying that there isn't truth to some of what Darwin was talking about. There's plenty of proof of it. But that's not the only part of evolution that there is. There's also mind evolution, I believe. But, so I don't know if the gate's still open. Doe said it would be open for a short time. I don't know what a short time is. Well, let's see if there's something else I wanted to say about Jesus and self-defense. One of the things he said was that you should seek agreement with your adversary while you are in the way with them, or you'll end up before the judge and you could be thrown in jail and you'll have to pay a price for that. I mean, a price in your freedom, your time. Your life. Someone taking it away from you. I don't know what T and Doe meant when they said that there were other ways of handling a violent person than killing them. Even though sometimes they do. But that would be, better, I think, than killing somebody. I'm not saying either one or, I don't know. to agree with your adversary. Well, to me, that means abiding by their laws. I'm not saying there aren't some good laws. I don't know, should actually think about that. Well, I mean, the Ten Commandments, that was Jesus. He said that, all those commandments were that was weird. The other person's light was, I thought I couldn't really see the side. So I'm like in a tunnel. There's two lanes with no shoulders. And back-to-back cars. I mean, right now it's pretty slow though. I got to pass here, but I've got, I have a very vocal opinion against suicide. I am against suicide. Now, so what is suicide? Humans need their bodies in order to learn lessons. So I guess I'm of that mind, whatever that mind is, a little bit. And I mean a little bit, relative to their minds. Anyway, that hated him, if you want to put him in a category, and anybody that hated him. There were people that hated him because their nephew ran off with him. Or their wife wanted to hear what he had to say. And that angered them. Way of describing their genders. But Baby Yoda, Warlord. I have to be able to read that comment better when I make my turn. It's coming up in just very short distance, 0.3 miles. But okay, I made my turn. Let me just stop here a second and read that. It's easy to skip and become like an average Christian. This is from Warrior of Truth. It's easy to skip and become like an average Christian. I noticed earlier, though, I felt a strong connection with the next level. I haven't actually modified my behavior much, mostly just asking and taking. Do you still keep the major and lesser offenses in mind after all this time? Well, yes, as a, well, I refer to them all the time when I'm in preach mode, I guess. I mean, I go in and out of kind of like, probably sounding like a preacher. I don't know if I do or not. I hate that, actually. But, what's going on here? What else is there for turning the light off? It's on. We'll close this, I think. Yeah. I rise above. I gotta go. So, good night, folks.